Hello. Today I want to talk about how the Trumpists' fantasies about um, elections and how the president would be elected and all this kind of this, how the society should be looks like, and it looks to me pretty familiar actually. What's the fantasy of the Trumpists? The fantasy is that elections in early November made are not valid, of course, for them, and the outcome of course is not valid, and they have the fantasy idea that Vice President Pence has to choose the next president. Just he's in January the 6th, he would preside the elections certificate, total certification in Congress, and the Trumpists has the idea that because he has some kind of movement, he has some kind of ritual to open the ballots from the states. He has to choose right ballots, the ballots which are making the Trump to the president, and to make Trump president only himself. So the system is amongst Trumpists. The idea of the system is just the vice president would elect the president. Yeah, very interesting. Totally undemocratic. Totally no. It's actually I say to cut long story short. It's one party state system. And it's very familiar for me because I lived in Soviet Union. It was such kind of huge country, which ended about 30 years ago. Actually, 29 years ago, but it doesn't matter. It was a very influential and very huge country in Eurasia. Nowadays, Russia was the biggest state there. But okay, and I lived there, and it was totally totalitarian country, and it was it has very strange, very interesting political system. And reading Trumpist fantasies, it reminds me that their fantasies are very close to it. Okay, what was political system of the Soviet Union? It was one-party state. All the party, the Communist Party, had absolutely all the power. Absolutely all the power. And so it worked. Communists shared the stakes of the power to each other, and there was a hierarchy and all the kind of things. But yes, the party has all the power in the country, total power. And the other things, what was interesting, which is not very, which is not talked about a lot, is quasi-religious attitude, quasi-religion there. It was a quasi-religion said that the party has some kind of quasi-divine right to the power. It was like that they have power because has to they have to have the power. They are just right. There wasn't such kind of very uh, mm, smart description why they have the power. It was like some we are so good, we so holy. No, they didn't call it holy, but okay, it's me. It's the all the attitude was like we are so good. We want right things. We have the right to have the power, and so all the system was built around the idea, and it was quasi religious. Um, Shortly to say, Lenin was like Jesus, and the Stalin and the others. Okay, in my days, Stalin was a very bad guy, but other way, the others were like apostles. The living communists, top communists, were like apostles of Jesus. Okay, apostles of Lenin, who was like Jesus, and it worked. Quasi-religious one-party state. If we have, if I am reading and watching all the pro-Trump videos and stuff, then always the comments and the idea is very quasi-religious. They say like Trump they say clearly, Trump is sent by God. He's divine. He's very like a holy man. The If communists said it with some other words, not holy and not divine, and so on, but the other words with more complicated way. But these Trumpists are talking about Trump like really like some kind of demigod, not demigod, but it's like a messenger of Messiah and Savior and so on, talking about him like very religious way, not even the quasi-religious way, but religious way, and it was very common. It is very common to the system which was in Soviet Union. This is very interesting, and both things, the idea of the holy divine power, which is which is not democratic. It is they have to get the power with any tool, with any method. They have to get the power because they have the Trump and his allies. I mean, they have to get the power because they have the right to the power, some kind of special divine right to the power, and that's all. Nothing else matters. And there are the supporters of Trump talking about him like some demigod or messiah or savior or something else. Of course, Trump is some way acting like cult leader, like Jim Jones and others, Osho and others, a bit. He's not carrying out actually the cult leaders, all the power or all the mojo. I have to say, he's very lazy and just talking, and not doing nothing, and so it's very. He's not very good on his cult leader position, but the others are doing that kind of job to make him some kind of cult leader. he himself is too lazy for that. He's too awkward. He's too. He's just whining and doing nothing. The cult leader has to act, but he's not doing it. That's why I'm not taking it so seriously what he's doing, but I'm taking more seriously what the others are doing, because they are acting very crazy. But and certainly they are pushed by Russia, pushed by Putin. But Putin likes that kind of stuff. Putin likes to pose himself like some demigod or some kind of cult leader or something else. He like to do it, but it's not. He's way smarter than Trump, times smarter and times more clever and times more. I should say he's times more evil, but he's very active guy. But Trump and the influence and the quasi-religious element and the moment of the one-party system, which getting the power without democratic way and trying to find the loopholes and evil ways to stay in power. It's very, very Putin, very Soviet Union. It's very Putin's Russia. It's very really. It's coming from the Russian side, all this kind of stuff.